Hi everyone. Yesterday I went to the Facebook group Emotional Denying with my housemate Timo. We got the day wrong and we had a wonderful chat. And I'm going to talk about some of the themes that we touched on yesterday. So we were talking about unschooling, love, fear, the future. And I'm going to tie all those things in today. So where shall I start? Well, I'd like to start with what is unschooling. So the difference between unschooling and homeschooling. Homeschooling is I don't want my kid to go to school. They're going to learn at home instead. Maybe I'd have a syllabus or I'd have textbooks. There wouldn't be anything radical about that kind of education. It's basically like school, but it's at home. Um, of course there are differences. The child could go at their own pace. The child can do maths first, science second, etc., etc. For me, it's not very different. It's not very radical. Unschooling is the kid does exactly what they want when they want. So what you can have happen sometimes is that children just want to play computer games. And if you go to the Facebook group Radical Unschoolers, you'll see that a lot of mums post that their concern over the child using the computer or iPad for a year, 2 years. The kid, that's all the kid does. So so that's unschooling. Unschooling is child-directed education. Now there are already some interesting models that based on unschooling. One is Sudbury Valley School based in the US, and there are also these schools around the world. I believe there's about 100. There's also agile learning centers, again, maybe up to maybe 50 to 100, quite a lot in the US. And then there's Acton academies, which are again around the world, maybe about 100. So there are already three interesting models, which is integrating unschooling. Now they are schools, they are places where children go, but in essence, they're the closest thing there is to unschooling, and it's very different to school. So that's unschooling. Now, what I'd like to discuss is why is unschooling beneficial for the individual or for society as a whole? And I believe that for the individual, it's about respecting free will. For me, I've been an entrepreneur for many years, and I haven't been as successful as I wanted to. And I believe it's because I haven't been starting a business around education. And for me, it's so important to contribute to new different model of education, because for me, education is not love as it is right now. School is not love. There are so many examples of how it's not like that, but the main one is that children's free will is not respected. Now, there are times when I believe a child's free will needs to be restricted, but those times are really quite small. For example, if there's violence between one child and another, or perhaps destruction of material objects in the home or in the school. Those are two examples, but certainly with the first, the violence that's something I would restrict, and that comes from Jordan Peterson's video teachings, book, videos, etc. Um, so I think schools restrict free will so much, and it's just not necessary. I think there are different ways of educating, and there's already proof of that and strong evidence that it works. The people who started Sudbury Valley School, both are academic, they're both education researchers, and they've got a lifespan of research. Agile learning is the agile learning model is based on Sudbury Valley School, and then Acton Academy, they drew they drew best practices from different models. Maybe it was Montessori or A.S. Neil and Summerhill in Suffolk in the UK, democratic education, and all these different things. So the future's looking good. There's already models of unschooling that work. So why do I think unschooling is so that's one reason that I believe unschooling is important is it respects a child's free will. I think a second reason is that we need to one ask ourselves what the future what what can we expect from the future. So we can ask the question is, are schools preparing children for the world we live in today, right? And I think they don't do it for today, and certainly they will not, and they do not do it for the future. So why are they not doing it for today? Maybe I can talk about my brother and sister a little. They're my half brother and half sister. They're 17 and 19. Um, And my brother is incredibly smart, and he goes to Warwick University in the UK. And then my sister is considering not going to university. So, what I was saying to Timo yesterday was that I wondered whether my brother going to university, whether that equips him for the future. And somehow I wondered whether my sister not going to university might be in a better or different situation, let's say. Um, so I think my brother is smart and has emotional intelligence and is a critical thinker. I just wonder whether his trajectory is matched to him. So he'll go to university, then and I'm making an assumption here, is get a job in a company. Um, maybe the job that he gets, the in a few years, that'll be automated and he can no longer do it. And Timo was kind of asking about saying that for us it's easy to adapt to changes, and I believe that's right. Um, it's not that we won't have a place in the workplace. We will, of course, we will. But if you've read the book Homo Deus by Yuval Harari, he talks about the taxi driver who's 50 years old and is now unemployed. But he's not unemployed; he's unemployed. But he cannot get a job, even if he wants to, he just can't. There is no job for him. And why? Because he's 50. He's been driving a car all his life. What job could he do? A 3D virtual designer. Okay. He's not used technology very much. And that's going to be challenging for him now. So, okay, yeah, sure. I'm 40, Timo's 30, and my brother is 20, which is interesting. We can look at the different ages and go, yeah, sure, we can adapt. I know. I think this was an interesting reflection is that me and Timo can adapt very easily because we live in a country that's very cheap. I live on less than $500 a month. I live in a comfortable home, etc. So that having low costs means that and time means that I can make a switch to something. I can adapt more easily. I think also our surroundings. So we live in a co-living space where other people are doing interest. They're doing non-traditional path. They've taken non-traditional paths. I think also the environment, Vietnam, generally people are entrepreneurial. Okay, I'm not sure it certainly helps me and I enjoy that. I'm not sure that's a great advantage over, for example, my brother in the UK. But I think it's going to be easier for me and Timo to adapt. So then I guess let me think how that connects with the future. Well, I guess I believe my brother can adapt also. I guess I just wonder whether if he does a job for 10 or so years, whether then he'd be able to adapt. Would he have the skills, the soft and hard skills to adapt and do a different job when the considering that the economy been moving so fast, will he be able to adapt to that change? You know, he's my brother, so I believe he will. Anyway, I've got 6 seconds left. I think I'm going to do a follow-up video because I've got a lot more to say about this. Bye.